Good evening. Check test. It looks like the mic's working fine. Might be a little bit low. No, it looks okay. So, how is everybody? Sure is good to be back to normal. Yeah. Had a pretty decent week, but boy, it sure got to be the dog days of summer in a hell of a hurry. I'm still hydrating. Anyway, I want to stop and say thanks to Kevin for pointing out that I was full of SHIIT on the soft starts. Rightfully so. I went and did some research on it. It's really quite fascinating how the air conditioner soft starts work. And I might do an article on it when I can sit down and actually try to explain it in terms that that the average person would understand. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not average. I had to ask somebody that I trusted, old electrical engineer friend of mine. But yeah, they definitely have a benefit of reducing the surge current on the generator / inverter / even the utility electrical system, and so might be worth the investment, particularly if you anticipate being off-grid a lot. So thanks. Let's go see who's in the chat this morning, this evening. I guess it is evening. Gary D checking in. He says he picked up his Military America, the beautiful National Pass today. Free benefit if you served. That's good to know. I got my lifetime pass last year. Tim's checking in. Kevin Coop's checking in. Looks like Tom Downey from Whidbey is in. 74, no rain in sight. Yeah. That's the way summer should be. Eric Myers says it's still beautiful in southwest Idaho. Yeah, I mean, we're only seeing the 90s. So it's not too bad. Tom says he removed all 3 Fantastic fans and cleaned them. Yeah, the one in my kitchen was a horrible one to clean because, of course, it would get a lot of grease on it. Even if I would run the hood over the stove or the range or I guess range is what it is, it would get greasy and nasty. So yeah, it was tough to clean. Oh, I haven't been to a theater forever. Kevin says they went to the $6 Tuesday movie day. I watched Indiana Jones and Mission Impossible. Like them both. Yeah, cool. I saw some clips of Indiana Jones, and I need the CGI people to work on me like they did Harrison Ford and take 20 years off me. Anyway. George is working on his floor. Did I share, George, did I share your pictures last week? If I didn't, remind me, and I'll go pull them up here. We can look at George's floor project. What he's been working on, and I know it was tricky for me, and he found that a little different angle on the way the floor meets, because when you're working with the slide, you have to get a taper on the flooring to get the slide to climb up on top of the floor, the way the slides worked in the era of Newmars that we had, Tom, myself, George. There's several others out there that have the Newmars. Anyway, and he found 12 degrees, and I'm not so sure that maybe mine weren't 15, and I misspoke in the video that I did on the flooring. That's on my channel when I put the flooring in mine. That was a request. Actually, that's kind of funny. I got 2 things that just popped into my head. I did that little flooring video that's up on my channel from photos. This was way pre-YouTube. It was clear back in 2012 when I did the flooring in my Newmar, and changed it out and went to bamboo, and I really loved it. It was really great flooring. It was really easy to keep clean. It started to show its age after 5 or 6 years, but it was super easy to clean. That's what made it all worthwhile. So anyway, yeah, if I didn't show those, I'll show them and it'll make more sense. So we'll get to that in a little bit. The other thing that just crossed my mind, I remember when I was a kid here growing up, that the local downtown theater had the summer kids movies, and it was all summer, every Tuesday or something, you know, and the whole summer was $6. It's like 35 cents a movie or something like that. I don't remember. Okay, who else is in the chat? Generator question from Tim. Okay, go ahead and shoot it out anytime. Let's see. Vincent RV Live checking in from Blue Ridge Parkway in Virginia. Where are you at? It could get really hot and muggy out there, especially this time of the year. Oh, and Tim just rolled back from North Carolina. That's right. Robert Black checking in. Hi, Robert. And it got to 104.4. That's the kind of fever you need to get to the doctor about. Judy Kimbrough. Hi, Judy. Good to see you checking in. Okay, I didn't. Okay. I will get those pictures up and we'll share that with the audience here in just a bit, George. It's kind of an interesting project he's got going. I think a couple of weeks ago I shared some photos of the project itself. He was working, you know, kind of refreshing the the interior, doing the cabinets, flooring. I think you were painting as well. But oh, he says he figured out the angles I mentioned in the video were the angles on the sides versus between the slide out and the main floor. Okay, okay. And Kevin says it's 78 Missouri. I'm going to run over here real quick and see if I can bring up George, who really is Craig. I think. Aren't you? Yeah, you are. Let's see. Oh, I'm in the wrong mailbox. That would make all the difference in the world. There it is. Alrighty. Let's see here. Okay, give me just a second, folks. We're getting there. Alright, let's do this. Jesus. Okay. Sorry, give me just a minute here. I couldn't remember. I was going to open these, and I couldn't remember if I'd shared them before. But apologize for the delay here. That'll give you a chance to ask any other questions you might have. I think Tim said he had a generator question. These probably will make the most sense. Yeah, good. And then let's go grab this one. Yeah, that's good right there. I think that one will work. Okay, cool. I got them open here. Check test. Can you hear me okay? It looks like you can. So this is the flooring. He's kind of calculating the the ramp that he has to climb here to get the slide to come in. And that looks a little tall, but of course he's making up for approximately 3/4 of an inch here. Let's see. Let's go to. Oh, that's pretty good. Here you can see the floor he's laying out. Oh, nice. Yeah, here's the condition. And oh, your slide is different, Kevin, or George, Craig. I'm confused. Your slide's different. It's mine did not have this bull nose vinyl thing on it. Oh, you know what? I bet it did probably at some point, but it probably got tore off. Probably before I ended up with the coach. Anyway, yeah, that's a little different than what my detail was. But I got to think that, and I mentioned this to him, I think, in an email in an email reply to something that he had. Yeah, so see, here's the ramp that they had built in there for the slide to crawl up. And when I did my flooring, I did it all the way back to this edge right here. Can you see my hand right here? I should blow that up for you, but I put my flooring in and reduplicated this condition here. This little ramp that you have to get the slide to crawl up it. So it can be a little tricky, but looks like he's got her handled there. Alright, you can see here, back to the chat. It says he's still working on the final idea for the short portion of the 12-degree slope that is exposed when the slide is extended. Yeah, gotcha. Joy Rogers from New Jersey. Boy, you get around, girl. Well, you ought to. Tim says, most of the time I have 120 volt power from the Jenny within about 30 seconds. Sometimes the 120 does not switch over at all. If I shut the gen set down and restart it, it works like normal. Any ideas why it doesn't always switch? Well, they will run for a little while before they put a load to it to stabilize the frequency of the generator to 60 cycles, 60 hertz. I wonder, it could be a couple things, and I'm just shooting bullets in the dark here, but the generator won't switch over. The generator won't provide power until it's come up to speed, 1800 RPMs usually. It's a nice multiple to get down to 60 cycles in the electronics of the generator itself. So it could be the frequencies drifting, and so the generator doesn't see it as being in a healthy state, healthy enough to switch the power on, and recycling that resets that. I'd have to look at the schematics to really get into it and figure out what goes on there and what conditions might stop it from switching over. But my guess would be something to do with the stability of the power the generator is making. And the generator doesn't see that, and what sensor, where it might be in the system, I wouldn't know where to start looking without without looking at the schematic. As a side note, no, well, mine, and I guess it might be generator specific, because I remember I had a PowerTech 8000 watt in the Newmar, and I had to replace the voltage regulator on it. But it would start, it would provide power, but it was really drifty. It was all over the place, the voltage. So maybe that would be my first guess, is that something in the string of logic that controls when the generator switches to providing power, some condition is not being met, and whether it's the actual speed of the generator or there's some electronics component inside that's getting cranky, those would be the places I'd start to look, probably, just off the top of my head. Definitely humid over the weekend in New Jersey. Yeah, I'm not surprised. And they've been getting a lot of rain. It's been nasty. Did everybody see the pictures, or did I just talk to myself? I thought I saw them. Did I screw that up? I probably know. Well, all right. I hope I got it. Oh, okay. Well, that's just real smart, boy. That was a real. Well, I switched, but I guess maybe I didn't switch. What a dork. All right. Sorry about that. Forgot to switch over. That's my bad. Just a minute here. Let me get this open. We'll just run through it real quick with the photos. Sorry about that, folks. I was, I guess I didn't transition. Is that what I did? Let's see here. This is really cumbersome. All right, let's try this again. Let's see here, transition. All right, now you can see. All right, so here's the photo I was talking about. This is the slide here, okay? And this is the little ramp that they'll put in. The slide climbs up to get up and over the top of what was carpet. Okay? And then, let's see. I want this. Yeah, just a little better picture. I think that first picture was probably better. And then here's the flooring layout. And those look like the little ramps. And so I might have had those ramps. I just frankly don't remember, to be honest with you, if mine had the ramps. But I just did the flooring, and I just recreated the ramp with a piece of, I picture framed it basically all around this. And then here's the condition. So here's what he's trying to figure out height-wise and angles and so on and so forth. So it looks like you got, how thick is that engineered flooring? Question mark. All right, now sorry about that, folks. I'll try to pay attention next time. I'll go back over here so I can see what's going on. All right. Okay, Kevin says, yeah, said something similar to what I said. There's a sensor that senses voltage in this hertz frequency. Once it's achieved, the timer will start. RV Living Life says, hey kids, could there be a loose connection causing that Jenny issue? Well, yeah, definitely. But yeah, it definitely could be a loose connection, but it sounds more like a logic problem where I think what makes us think that it's probably something in the generator, how it starts itself up and gets itself happy. It senses the frequency and the voltage, and if it doesn't achieve that, then it won't switch over and provide voltage, provide current. But it definitely could be. Robert Black, check to see if there's power to the 15 amp plugs on the generator. Yeah, this these Jennies, Robert, are going to be built in. So these are on Class A. They're basically a part of the chassis for all intents and purposes. So there are no plugs on it. The first voltage you get off the generator is back at the automatic transfer switch. Oh, the flooring, George says, the flooring's 3/8. The main floor is 3/4 solid hickory. Sweet. Yeah, 3/8, okay, sweet. So, yeah, anyway, so that gets through sort of the comments in the chat. Just a little bit more of an update. I am working on the truck camper, which reminds me I need to drink more water. I got really dehydrated the other day, yesterday, because I didn't drink enough water. So I went and found this. And I drank 2 of those today. So that ought to keep me hydrated. I'll probably be up all night. But then getting the siding sorted out, cleaned up, straightened up. When you take the siding off, things get bent. Staples pull through the metal. There's all kinds of challenges taking that siding off. And because I am trying to reuse the siding, I wanted to go through and clean it up as best I could. So I went through, and there was some dents and some scratches and stuff that I pounded out, body worked out with some body working tools. Of course, I have video for that. I probably won't get the first truck camper video out for maybe 2 weeks. We'll see. Coming up Thursday night will be the premiere of my video that replaces my existing video on managing your holding tank. And I will take a minute here and I will share this with you. Let's see, make sure we got everything good.
Okay, here's the secret sauce. Here's what every RVer needs to know to stop the stink. First, dump from full tanks. Second, fill the tank about a third full. Add more or less as your situation requires. Dump again, repeat filling and dumping until all of the large particulate matter is out of the tank and the waste stream is fairly clean. It doesn't have to be crystal clear. A light brown is fine, like you're seeing here in this video.
So yeah, that is a little bit of a short that I've been editing. I've got a few shorts that I'll be releasing associated with the release of my new video. And wow, I am way behind on where I'm at on the stream. Let's see here. There we go. And so anyway, that releases on Thursday night. It will premiere at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And hope to see you there. Then I was just sitting here checking the chat. I'll go back to my comments here about what's upcoming. Starting in August, I'm going to back off on the weekly live streams to monthly. I love the folks that are here. We get the same 20-25 folks on the live chat, on the live portion of it. And we have the occasional drive-by questioner. Last week, the young lady with questions about her AC. A couple weeks ago, a guy wanted to know about remote, internet for nomads and stuff like that. But I had a friend of mine, I was talking to a friend of mine last week, and he said, so how much money have you made on those live streams? And I've done 103 or 4 at this point. I don't know, it's not terribly important. But on the live streams alone, if you exclude all of the super chats, which are always greatly appreciated, you guys are so kind and so generous, but it's under $500. So that's about $5 a video, and that's stretching it. And so it's kind of not. It isn't working out like I thought it was going to 100 or so shows ago, where folks would come by, ask their questions, and then move on. I mean, we get that occasionally, but it just hasn't happened. I'm not blaming anybody but myself, but I am going to shut down and go to once a month starting August. It will be the first Tuesday of the month. And we'll just go with that. If there seems to be more demand, I might go back to weekly, but at this point, I've got so much content coming up. I have spent lots of time last spring, once I got that hard drive that I've mentioned to you folks. And I've got a bunch of retro on-the-road videos that I think are pretty good that will start running the 1st of August as well. I haven't decided what day. Those will probably run on Sundays. But I don't know yet. I haven't decided. And then on the first Tuesday of the month, we'll have a live stream. And then the rest of the time, there'll be truck camper content. There's going to be retro on the road, I've got enough of those to run through at least the end of the year and probably into next year, set aside in finishing. I've got 5 already ready, that are finalized, and well, I'll go back and watch them again and twiddle with them, but they're pretty much ready to go. And then I've got some other videos that I've been working on in the background that'll be coming, and so I just think that once a month will be fine on the live streams. So thanks everybody. Your support has been great, and I'm sure that once a month maybe we'll get more traffic. I'll do a little bit more marketing about it, and we'll see if we can make it a little bit more interesting than me sitting here jawing about stuff and making mistakes. And but that doesn't mean you can't always send me your questions at trbolin@gmail.com. You can visit my website, trbolin.com. Be sure and leave a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. You might run over and check out my website. There's some new content up there that I just released, and I've got some more content coming. And so yeah, that's about it. That's about all I'm going to do, and still be retired. Okay, back to the comments. Tom Downey, loose connection usually makes sparks smoke. Yeah, sometimes, but if it's if it's a loose connection inside the logic board somewhere, you might not see smoke. Is it when it's hot or cold, Tim? Is it when you first start using it, or is it after you've run it for a while? Is there any pattern that way? Just curious. Still thinking about it, because I was wondering if it's heat related. But if it's doing it when it's cold, yeah, that could be. That's a thought. I mean, if it was something on the logic board, wires shrink and stretch and shrink based on how hot or cold they are. And it might be when the wire's cold, it might be shrunk down, and maybe it's not making great contact. Tim, weren't you the one that took apart your overhead display and resoldered it and got rid of all the nasty old crusty solder joints? I think that was you, wasn't it? I can't remember. George says, the great test flooring I picked up at the restore called Echo Building Supplies in $40 for a cold carton of somebody's leftovers. Yeah. Both black and gray, Kevin. Maintenance issues and how to maintain both holding tanks. Tim says he had his tanks jetted out a few weeks ago. They graded my black tanks as A+ and gray was A-. Great. Yeah, I mean, and your tanks probably never stunk, did they? Welding turned out really good. I haven't bought a welder yet, but I'm actually tending towards a miller. I had been all along. Sorry. And then I watch, and they're an up-and-coming channel, but Matt's Off-Road Recovery. They're a company down in Hurricane, Utah, that started by going out in the desert and pulling dumb shit people out of the desert who got in trouble and putting it on YouTube, and now they've got 1.5 million subscribers, and they're doing all kinds of fun projects. But they demonstrated a miller that was really impressive, that could flip from MIG to TIG, and with no huge amount of setup. Thanks, Joy. I will. Joy says, enjoy the rest of summer. Gary D, you do what you do. Life is short. Yeah. George, it's a lot of effort producing videos and live streams with the scheduling constraints and more tasking. Yeah. In the average RV blog video where I'm working on like the truck camper, it's usually about an hour per produced minute. By the time you get the the video in, you get it downloaded, you get it into the system, you get it, proxies made, you get everything, start to edit, put it together, blah 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 blah, publish it, push it up on YouTube, do all of the stuff on YouTube you got to do. It's about an hour a minute. The video that will release Thursday, that's a 29-minute video, and I have well in excess of 300 hours editing on that. Yeah, 300 hours. That includes cutting up some stuff and making shorts and doing some other stuff for some marketing and those sorts of things. Whiskey Bravo. Oh, wait a minute. Tim said, I got to back up. I'll get to you, Whiskey Bravo. Gary D, he says his videos are mostly for me, helps me remember. Yeah, I do the how-to videos just to show people you could do it yourself and save a ton of money. I think that's what's important. That's why I do it. Tim says, I usually notice it when we stop for lunch while on the road, and then only once every 10 or so starts. Yes, I cleaned up my tank sensor monitor. Yeah, not very often. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's going to be an interesting one to keep us informed what you find. Whiskey Bravo says, ATR, just watched one of your videos from 4 years ago about tank maintenance, like your info on surfactants in aerobic versus anaerobic. Appreciate that. You seem to know what you're doing. Well, I'll tell you what, Whiskey Bravo, it just freaking works, right? I mean, it's simple. There's nothing to it. It just works. It looks like he has follow-on comment, and I'll circle back on the others. You know what you're about. So I came to your channel, saw a live stream, just going to say hello to you. Back to your old vids, though. Take it easy, and thanks for the content. You're welcome. Thanks for watching, Whiskey Bravo. I greatly appreciate it. I think you'll find that the video releasing on Thursday is even better than the one you just watched, and it has new information on how to maintain tanks. So look forward to seeing you there at the premiere Thursday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Round Town Scouter from Cass City, Michigan, beating the heat. Patty exchanged the heat for the humidity. Patty McMillan says, late getting on here. Sorry. Don't worry about it, Patty. We're happy to have you. Okay. Joni Portwood, I've been working on an aluminum framed Hornet truck camper I bought recently, and I found corrosion in the aluminum roof studs. Tom says, most all three-way machines will do that. I love my Hobart. Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was hoping. Oh, and it is a stick welder, too. Tim says, that's not good. Yeah, corrosion in the roof studs. What kind of corrosion? Is it just that white kind of film that sometimes gets on aluminum? Be interested to know about that. Aluminum doesn't usually corrode unless, there's bimetallic stuff, okay? You got steel and aluminum that can cause corrosion and stuff like that. Interesting. George A.K.A. Dad, itchy boots dropped from a 5 from 5 a week to 3 recently. Interesting. Yeah, I watched that one too, but not regularly. I wouldn't know that they were doing 5 or 3. Patty McMillan. Okay, she says, in the last month or so, I have noticed an odd odor, sort of a gas smell. My daughter said kind of like onion, but it seems to come from the basement part, from the vent on the step up to the front. All right, let's see if we can put this together. Kind of like an onion smell, but it seems to come from the basement part, from the vent on the step up to the front. Well, anytime. Okay. A couple things. First thing that comes to my mind would be holding tank, but it would be odd because if I'm understanding this correctly, Patty, you're smelling the smell up near the front steps, but it smells like it's coming from the basement. But it's up by the front steps, right? So that kind of, I mean, you know, you wouldn't expect to smell your holding tank up there. Have you looked underneath? Maybe you got something up underneath. I don't know. I just weird smells. I mean, it could be. I don't know. I do remember this. In my Newmar, there was a switch so that the floor would come up and fill the well, the stairwell out. Okay? Enclosed underbelly. Okay. And I had a bunch of organic matter that had gotten underneath there, and it got wet, and it was stinking. But she says, enclosed underbelly. Yeah, good question, Eric. Is there a grill in the basement? Okay, enclosed underbelly. No grill. All right. Okay, well, that I just don't know what to say, Patty. It sounds like, I mean, an onion smell. Sounds to me like maybe your gray tank. There's no, if you've looked underneath, there's no obvious signs of any water or anything dripping out from the underbelly. Okay? Question mark. It might just be your black tank needs maintenance, and in that case, then run over on Thursday and watch the holding tank. It's called Stop the Stink. I'll bring that slide up for you. It's kind of a cute slide that Tiffany Everett put together for me. She's quite the talented young lady when it comes to graphic arts and stuff. Let me go find that. Where is it? This videos this big are really hard to work on. You get so many elements that let's see, is it, well, it's not going to just pop out at me. Sorry about that, folks. Maybe it's over here. Oh well, anyway, on Thursday night, 7 p.m. I've got some tips on how to maintain your gray tank, and I just got to wonder if maybe it's your gray tank. 2 gray, 1 black, no dripping. Okay, so onion still is gas. I just think that probably it sounds like your gray tanks might be stinking. And for whatever reason, it smells like it's coming from underneath. Now, that's optimistic. There could be something else going on. You may have a line dripping, and it might be dripping just enough that it's causing it to smell, but you never see anything come out of the belly pan. And the only way to get in there and look at it is to drop the belly pan and look at the belly pan and see if there's any accumulated stuff on it. Before I went to all of that effort, I'd watch that video on Thursday night and apply my recommendations on how to treat your gray tank, and do that first. Treat both your tanks, get them clean, and if you still have smell, then start digging and looking further. Yeah, okay, well, if you follow my recommendation in the video on Thursday, your black tank monitors will start working and you will be able to stop working on making them work. That was fun. Let's see, I've been working okay. I'll get to you, George and Kevin, in a minute. Patty says, well, I do have washer and dryer. Okay, no worries. Is the washer and dryer near the steps in? What is near the steps in? Is it by the bathroom or whatever? But anyway, maintain those tanks first. If you do that, your holding tank monitors will start working again. And then if the odor persists, then start dropping belly pans and digging a little deeper to see if there's a leak, provided you're comfortable doing that. Fifth wheel. Okay, thanks, Patty. Good to know. Tim says stairwell cover. Yeah, it was a platform. I imagine, Tom, you have that, and I imagine, George, you have that too, because George basically has the same footprint floor plan as mine was. But yeah, it was just the stairs themselves, and the stairs just folded up and went flat and filled in the well. I rarely used it. In fact, what happened was one of the little arms on it broke, and you couldn't get the part. So, and then it was the pandemic, and then you really couldn't get the part. Okay, circling back here, stairway cover, another Class A feature, tower cover that covers the interior steps when you're traveling, so the passengers' legs aren't dangling in space. Yep, or when you're parked long term, although it makes it a pain in the ass to get in and out because you've got to bring it up and down. But you know, if you're having people over that aren't familiar with RVs, I found it very valuable to keep them from falling in the footwell. The only problem was you had to drop the steps to get out, which only took a second. Kevin Coop video said couple complained about gray tank stinking really bad. Tech asks who was peeing in the shower. The tech doesn't know what he's talking about. He dropped his face and said, me. That's not going to make your gray tank stink, trust me. Well, it might, but not. Here's the thing about gray tanks versus black tanks, and why the gray tank rarely is a stink complaint, and the black tank always is. 99% of RVs have a direct drop system into the black tank. There's no P-traps like there is in your house. So all that sewer gas, when you step on that pedal, and all that water and ooh drops into the holding tank, that stem that the water drops into is full of gas and it just flushes out in your face. The gray tanks are vented. Okay, they're like a real plumbing system, and they have P-traps and they're vented. Now they have interior vents that sometimes will fail, and that will make them stink. But most of the time they're vented to the roof, and so they appear to be more forgiving. And there's other reasons for that, and you'll learn that on Thursday night. Oh, okay, gotcha. Stairwell cover. Thank you. I don't have a video on dropping the belly pan, Patty, but really, it's not that much work. It's just screws, so it's just screwed up underneath. So get yourself a reasonably good electric screwdriver with a good new Phillips bit. keep in mind that there may be some rusty screws and stuff, so you might have to put a little extra muscle into it to get those screws to come loose. But yeah, it's nothing. It's not rocket science. Just a simple screwdriver. You probably want 2 people, okay? Because they're really unwieldy and hard to put back up. It's not hard to get him down, but they're big, and so they're hard to put back up just by yourself. So I would have 2 people when I put it back up. Joyce says she will definitely watch Stop the Stink. Still have issues. The giant manual is of no use. Rework drains. They were a mess. Maybe that will fix the smell. Yeah, watch the videos and do it. It works. Oh, Tom has the driver's side door. Cool. Round Town Scouter, he says, where did you have your tanks cleaned? Asking Tim. And Round Town got Tim's email address. Oh, Joy says her next project's to get the electric steps working. Interesting. Daryl Taz. Hi, Daryl. Don't be shy. Turn off exhaust fan before you flush. Oh, I just saw a comment here I missed. My vents have have the vents going to the basement in the steps, going up to the bedroom in the 5th wheel. Bathroom is right there too. Ah, interesting. Okay. Well, yeah. Maintain those holding tanks, Patty, before you start dropping the belly pan. Do the easy thing first, and if the stink doesn't go away, then dig a little deeper. Robert Black. Oh, she's asking Robert, how can I find these vents? Well, not every 5th wheel is the same, Patty. Okay, so keep that in mind. And Robert says they are visible on the riser on the first 2 steps. Metal vent. Okay. Tim says, I wish I had a driver's side door. Yeah, I was just thinking about that too. Patty McMillan. Okay, thanks, 2 people. That'll be a challenge. You said you got a daughter. Daryl Taz says, how to get condensation from dripping from the AC. Okay, Daryl. The condensation, are you talking about on the exterior of the coach or inside? If it's inside, there's a problem. You should get up and pop open the AC and look and see if something's plugged up, because you should never really see, I will never say never, but you shouldn't see condensation inside the RV. There are drains and systems up there to keep the water from getting in the airstream. Okay, that condensate usually runs out onto the roof and then off the roof down the side of your coach, leaving yellow, white, nasty streaks that make everybody mad. How to stop that, I don't know. Fact of life. If you don't have gutters, you know, when I say gutters, a lot of RVs will have these little channels that walk, you know, that work around the outside of around the outside, and so that helps the water drain away better. But yeah, if it's condensate on the inside, you got a problem. If it's on the outside, there's not a hell of a lot you can do about it. George responding to Joy. Cool. Patty, we'll definitely do the easy thing first. Thank you. No metal vent. Gotcha. Okay. Tom Downey says driver's side door is way too high and slippery. Guess how I know. Yeah, Tom Downey. Tim saying, yeah, it makes a good second access point. Yeah, you know, there's a lot to be said for that. Okay, 7:51. Well, the hour flew by. So we will be back on Thursday night with the live premiere, and then we'll be back on August, I think it's the 6th. Let's check. Excuse me, that'll be August 1st. I'll be back on Tuesday night, 7 p.m. With another live stream. You can ask me anything. And then stay tuned for all of the great content I have coming up. Like I said, this is a hobby for me. It's kind of my retirement job to keep me busy. And so that's the level of effort I'd like to put into it. Yeah, that's a good point, George. He says, Joy, the motor for many electric steps is pretty standard windshield wiper motor. Check the part numbers and look it up. Yeah, and a lot of that stuff, you could just take the part number and put it in Google, and you'd be surprised what you'll get back. Hopefully it's not porn, but... exterior. Okay, Daryl, yes. Unfortunately... there is not a lot you can do about it other than get up and clean your roof, which will help keep the streaky white crap from getting on down the side. But yeah, it's a pain in the rear, I know. Especially but if you do have gutters, which I mean, when I talk gutters, we're talking about little half-inch little widget thing that sits right around the outside and helps direct the water off the roof and keep it from going down the side of the rig. Not every rig has that, but if they're plugged up, you might check those just to make sure they're free running and stuff. That'll help keep it off the side. But yeah, there's just not a heck of a lot you can do that I know of, unless anybody else has a good idea out there, but I don't. Yes, Thursday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, Patty. Thank you for asking. George, talking to Tom, says his dad took a header backing out of the driver's side door on his Pace Arrow, knocked him out when he hit the ground. Ouch. Thank you, Robert. Roundtown Scouter, note the email. I will delete it at the end of the stream. Yeah, and if you don't get it, Roundtown, you can always email me, trbolin@gmail.com, and I'll connect you and Tim. Good night, Robert. Thanks for joining us. Joy is back to do. Okay, Patty, enjoy this. Thank you, and all. You're welcome. Thank you, Patty. Good night, Joy. Tom says, I run a small brush around the gutters. Yeah, I used to pressure wash mine out when I always did my roof. I would just make sure I would pressure wash my gutters. They would get... I mean, when you're rolling down the road, or like, especially like sitting in Arizona and you get the windstorms and you get the haboobs, the big dust storms that come up, and get up to clean your solar panels and your roof off, and forget to wash your gutters out and they're full of dirt. Oh, Eric says he has the gutters, passenger side drips at the door. That's convenient. Good night, Tim. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, about once a year. Yeah, if you're not in a really dusty climate all the time, then once a year is probably fine. That's right. And the good point, Tim. They do make gutter extensions that push the water out away from the side of the coach. They might help. Thanks, Roundtown. All right. Any last questions? Yes, Joe. Yes, Patty. You can surely pressure wash the roof. Want to be careful around your AC units, but yeah, you can definitely pressure wash your roof. Daryl Taz. I do have that channel, but it runs to the front down the side of the door. Is there a way to channel it to the other side? Maybe a tube, or yeah. Not that I know of. I mean, I don't know why you couldn't. Redirect it on the roof with something. You know, I just trying to think about what you would use. Lap sealant, I guess. Yeah, lap sealant, silicone and rubber roofs aren't usually compatible. So I guess you could do some lap sealant and build a little dam and kind of force it to go a different direction. But other than that, I don't know. You know, there may be. Yeah, well, Robert, that's a good point. You might be able to go a couple micro degrees out of level, just enough to tilt the coach so the water runs the other way. That's actually not a bad suggestion. I mean, you know, they're not perfectly level anyway, and if you took and just dropped that side, you know, drop the driver's side a little bit, that could push the water off the other side. Patty, you don't want to blast, right? I mean, if you're pressure washing, you know, you're not down there blasting it like you're going to blast gum off the concrete. But if you're just using it to spray it down and you know, wash it, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with scrubbing your roof. In fact, you should do that regularly anyway. But yeah, just be careful around the vents and the you know, you don't want to spray water up and into the vents and stuff like that. But yeah, if you're just up there and you scrub the roof off and pressure wash it off, yeah, I mean, you're safe. Not a problem at all. It won't hurt the lap sealant. Eric Myers, what I'm not talking about, Eric, is I'll go back and reiterate this. I'm not using a pressure washer to scrub the roof like you would scrub gum off the concrete. I'm using a pressure washer to just help rinse away stuff, and not putting 1900 psi. You know, we're not talking about a 0 degree nozzle on a pressure washer. Yeah, that will destroy the roof. I'm talking about a 30-45 degree nozzle that's only 600-700 psi. That's just enough to kind of sweep this stuff off the roof, and it doesn't hurt a little bit. I mean, I never bothered my roof to work a little bit on the inevitable mold spots, but they go way better with bleach. All right, coming up on 8. Try to keep it to an hour. Looks like we're going to make it. Last call. All right. I know there's a little bit of delay, so we'll hang here for just a minute. Yeah, Tim says it's a good idea to use a wash with, and I got something with wax in it. Yeah, turtle wax stuff is good. You know, any of the car washes is fine. They make special vinyl roof washing stuff that probably has silicone in it that would help reinvigorate the rubber roof itself. You know, stuff like that. But yeah, you don't want to be down there with a 30,000 psi pressure washer washing your roof. Yeah, you're going to destroy that roof. Yeah, George says I use low pressure nozzle on the pressure washer, typically the same nozzle used when dispensing soap. Yeah, Patty says awesome to know, a much easier way I'm sure to clean it. The broom, spick and span. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thanks. Okay. All right, we're going to call her tonight. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Until next week. Peace. Good night.